Hi, I'm Tom. Today we're going to go over 7 reasons why you should have sheep on your small homestead farm, and let's get started. Number 1, land management. When I first bought this old farm, it was really overgrown and it was rocky and rough, and so I wasn't sure if I could get equipment into where I needed it cleared off. And so to get started, I knew I was going to want something besides chickens here. One of the first animals I brought to the farm after I moved here was sheep. And the reason I got them actually was for land management. Now I have Katahdin sheep, and the history of Katahdin sheep was they were actually designed up here in Maine to clear power lines. So it seemed like a logical choice for me to choose the Katahdin sheep. And so what they've done is they've been up there on my pastures and they've been revitalizing and clearing old pasture land. And so they will eat brush and brambles and they'll clear all that stuff out just like goats will. They're actually a little bit easier to manage than goats. The fencing for sheep doesn't have to be quite as robust as it does for goats. Number 2, sheep are easily sustained on grass. And so while the pastures here weren't of the best quality, I supplemented them with a little bit of grain and they were just fine out there eating whatever the pastures had evolved into, mostly weeds at that point. And the first crop of sheep that I had, they actually dressed out really well. They essentially were happy to go work for me. They cleared my lands and they were just happy employees. They went out and did their work every day, and at the end of it, I got to eat them. Number 3, sheep are a great small scale animal to have on your farm, and they don't require the infrastructure and facilities that say a cow would. Sheep are a lot easier to maintain and they require a lot fewer and smaller facilities than cattle. In addition, the amount of freezer space that you need at the end of their lifespan is much smaller also. So if you're just starting out and you don't have, a giant barn or a lot of fencing or even a large freezer, but you want some red meat, sheep are a great choice. And to be honest with you, the Katahdin sheep are really mild flavored sheep, and I fooled so many people thinking they were eating beef when in reality they were eating sheep. Number 4, sheep are very easy to handle. My sheep follow me wherever I'm going. I can get them to go from paddock to paddock. When they come to me, they're gonna get a treat. So they're just so easy to handle. You're not having to push a stubborn cow or trying to get a pig or even a goat that's jumped over your fence. They're just really easy to handle. 5, there are 3 different types of sheep. There are meat sheep. You've got like the Katahdins and Dorpers. You've got the wool sheep, such as the Wensleydale that we have. And those are great for spinning into fiber to make mittens and sweaters and all kinds of handy things out of. The milk sheep, which are like the East Frisians, and we had one of those, and they make delicious cheeses and butter things. And you can drink the milk too. It's really good. And they're very docile. They're just a nice animal. And number 6, hair sheep, like the Katahdins and Dorpers, they don't have lanolin. That's what makes the wool greasy. And the wool sheep are going to be a little bit more gamey in taste, and the hair sheep, they're going to be a lot milder like the Katahdins, which is how I was able to actually fool so many people into thinking they were eating beef. When I get ready to harvest the Katahdins, they give me 40 to 60 pounds in little packages. And so that's about what you're looking at. And finally, sheep are very sustainable. You can direct market to your customers. You are able to provide your family with fresh red meat without actually involving a lot of processes in the supply chain. For example, the meat you buy at the store or the supermarket typically comes from New Zealand or Australia. So just think of all the fossil fuels that are being utilized to get that lamb back to the United States. So sheep are sustainable. They're very low input. And the reason that that's true is because they don't require a lot of startup costs. You don't have to have a lot of infrastructure for sheep. Simple 3-sided shelter, some small fencing, and the mothers will raise their own young. The meat can be direct marketed locally. When the sheep are out there on the range going from paddock to paddock, they're spreading their own manure, so I don't have to invest time and money into spreading manure or hauling manure or using equipment, etc. If you're a small homestead farmer like us and you really enjoy this type of lifestyle, please consider subscribing to our channel. We'd really appreciate it. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.